Hello, my name is METİN ARIDAŞIR. This is 89th part of explanation of my theory. Energy is conserved without neutrino fiction in beta-decay experiment. 1. What was the reason to fictionalize the neutrino? The reason was the conservation concern, the energy conservation law. The reason was the conservation concern, the energy conservation law. In beta-decay experiment, they expected a single line in energy spectrum. Here, the result of beta-decay experiment, continuous spectrum. This side, number of electrons. This side from 0 to maximum kinetic energy of electrons. They expected single line like this. Here, this is expected single certain value from beta-decay experiment. But this was not the case. This is the case. Okay. Prerequisite to save the energy conservation law was electrons carrying away same amount energy. Same amount. All of them, they expected same amount energy. Here, certain. When they saw beta-decay experiment result, they surprised. Continuous spectrum. Not all electrons give same certain energy. Okay? Here, this shape indicate lost energy. Yes. When they saw beta-decay experiment result, they surprised. Electrons were shown continuous spectrum. Electrons were shown continuous spectrum from lower energy level, from 0, okay, through the maximum. Electrons were shown continuous spectrum from lower energy up to expected value. From 0 to maximum kinetic energy. X direction, kinetic energy of electron values. This meant some of released energy seemed lost for them. So, Niels Bohr assumed that the energy was not conserved. Contrarily, Wolfgang Pauli fictionalized an undetectable particle that has carried away the emitted additional lost energy in beta decay. Therefore, n neutron decay proton plus electron. Formula is written as n neutron proton plus electron plus fictive particle, neutrino. Yes. They expected that each electron have the same certain amount of energy. But when they saw this graph, they expected this. Okay. They expected that each electron have the same certain amount of energy. But when they saw this graph, they thought that the energy is not conserved. 3. Whereas the same graph is one of the proofs, my theory and my formulas. This beta decay electrons continuous spectrum graph doesn't prove or must not make someone think that the energy is not conserved. This beta decay electron continuous spectrum proves my theory and my formulas. This graph proves that the electron motion form, whether here electron motion form, okay, then this is under the graph, electron motion form according to my theory and my formulas. I hope you see. Okay, whether this electron motion form is relocating, whether it is relocating or at rest. According to my theory and my formulas, in all conditions, electron motion forms total energy, total momentum, angular momentum, total mass is same. Don't change, doesn't change. Whereas the same graph is one of the proofs of my theory and my formulas, this beta decay electrons continuous spectrum graph doesn't prove or must not make someone think that the energy is not conserved. This beta decay electron continuous spectrum proves my theory and my formulas. This graph proves that the electron motion form here, this electron motion form at rest. It is not relocating. Okay. This electron motion form in this direction is relocating. So, whether electron motion form relocating or it is not relocating, its total energy, its total mass, its angular momentum, or say spin, or say Planck's constant, according to my theory and my formulas, Planck's constant is angular momentum of electron motion form or spin. its total charge, its total momentum, and its frequency don't change. Even the graph shows continuous spectrum. On the contrary, because of the graph shows continuous spectrum, in beta-decay experiment, energy is conserved without needing any fictive particle, without neutrino. 4. This graph shows variation of point wavelengths. This is in motion electron motion form, in the zero direction of its velocity, its motion. It's at this point shortest wavelength, at this point different, at this point different wavelength from, remember from my former videos, at this point shortest wavelength, smallest velocity, wave velocity, greatest amount energy, greatest amount mass, etc. Here the mass, energy, moment, the mass, energy, charge, wave velocity, wavelength are different. Here different, this point different, this point different. Think of electron motion form according to my theory and my formula is not point particle. It has volume, three-dimensional. In accepted physics theories, electron is point particle that has no dimension. This is wrong. Yes. This graph shows variation of point wavelengths, point energies, like this. Yes, this is the graph. This is electron motion from successive waves. Maximum energy corresponds this point. This point energy corresponds this point energy. This point energy corresponds this point energy. This point energy corresponds this point energy of electron motion form. On the surface, think of three-dimensional. Yes. This graph shows variation of point wavelengths, point energies, point masses, point wave velocities, etc. of the electron motion forms that they are at same velocity, same direction, same orientation, depending on these electrons' velocity, direction, and orientation. These variation of wavelength energy at each point, depending on electron motion forms, velocity, direction, and orientation. Zero direction different. In 0 degree different. In 45 degree different. Opposite to motion in 180 degrees different. Okay. I have told you before in my former videos. Now, the sum of the total energy of the whole electron motion form. Whole electron motion form, okay? As a sphere. Okay. Yes. Think of three-dimensional and think of electron motion form is motion form. Intrinsic motion form of meta-sensation perception matter. Yes. The sum of the total energy of the whole electron motion form surface According to my theory and my formulas, electrons are not point particles. They have volume, radiuses, wavelengths, etc. Accepted physics theories assume that the electron is point particle that have not volume. The sum of the total energy of the whole electron motion forms surface, whether they are at rest or they are in motion. Don't change. Don't change. Relocating or at rest. Total energy, total mass, all of its surface will be same. Frequency don't change. Angular momentum don't change. Okay. 5. If electron in motion, if it is relocating, wait a moment, don't change. 5. If electron